Hello and welcome to episode 12 of Restoring the Republic. We have a lot to cover today, but we'll do it quickly because we have votes in a few minutes. You've got the congressional baseball game. You've got the contempt of Garland. You've got a meeting this morning that Trump had on the Hill with Republicans. I was there. I actually was right there in the front row with him. And then a piece of legislation that I offered that is trending on Fox, no juicing Joe. But we'll get to that in a minute. So let's start with the baseball game. So first off, I had the privilege and opportunity to be in the game. I was a base runner. It was an epic win, 31-10. And I think it's a harbinger of what's going to happen in November. So we dominated last night in baseball, and we're going to dominate in November at that ballot box. But we'll get to that later. But what I will say is that it was an epic game, not only from the sense of just the players and the sportsmanship and, of course, the score, but you had these protesters that stormed the field. They were obviously taken out by the cops. And then secondly, you had an umpire that was taken out by our catcher. And it was an accident, of course. He was responding to the ball. He backed up. And it laid out the umpire. So obviously the game stops. Everybody was focused on the well-being of the umpire, but it was a crazy game. You had people shouting during the national anthem. These I hate to say this, but crazy protesters that were sympathizing with Hamas. Again, the world is upside down, and that's because Joe Biden is a weak leader. So congratulations to all the players. We had a great game, no serious injuries, a lot of great sportsmanship, but ultimately we prevailed again. And so kudos to that. And if you missed it, I'm sure you can see it on repeat. Jumping to the Garland contempt. So what is this? Merrick Garland, he's held in contempt for withholding audio tapes that were subpoenaed by both the judiciary and oversight committees, which is important. Like, Congress is asking for this information. We have a right to ask for this information, and he's refusing. So we voted. He's held into contempt. And what's you have to underscore, right, is you see this persecution of Donald Trump. And again, you can like Trump, you can not like Trump. But the fact that the Justice Department is being weaponized and you have Merrick Garland ignoring subpoenas from Congress is a big deal. And Garland's response is that, these subpoenas, the committees were being used as a partisan weapon. But meanwhile, he's turned his jurisdiction, right, his agency into a partisan weapon. And so this is what we're trying to get to the bottom of. And I think it's underscored by the fact that not only has he ignored these subpoenas, but then you have the number 3 at the Justice Department, Colangelo, leaving the Justice Department to go and persecute Donald Trump. And so this has got to stop. We've got to right this ship. The foundation of our country is the Constitution, our rule of law, and this idea that justice is blind and that it's applied evenly, and it's not being applied evenly today. So Donald Trump was on the Hill today. The room was packed. There's a picture there. Again, I was there with several of my colleagues. That's Russell Fry, Derek Van Orden. I see Dr. Baden there, and many others. But so the temperature in the room was excitement. Donald Trump talked about unity, talked about how he's leading in the polls in roughly 10 battleground states, which is remarkable. And just kind of anecdotally, you look at the rally that he just had in New Jersey, where he had 107,000 people show up in New Jersey. I'm not talking Tennessee, not talking about Florida, but in New Jersey. And he's up in the polls. And then we talked about the substance of what we needed to get done. So a lot of the work we're doing today, the bills that we're offering, the amendments that I offer. I hold the record in offering amendments and passing amendments as a House freshman per Sean Hannity. And so we're laying the groundwork and the framework and driving the narrative of what are we going to do when we have the House? Because we're going to win the House. We're going to win the Senate, and we're going to win the White House. When we have that triangle, what are we going to do in that first 100 days? And that's important because we are on a path that's not sustainable, both from a debt perspective, from a foreign policy perspective, and then domestic energy production and all those other things that we've got to fix and get right because you and I are paying for it at the grocery store, at the pump, et cetera. And so he's very upbeat. He's very excited. He's on the campaign trail. He's ready to fight, and he's ready for the debate. Now, I don't necessarily think, I'm skeptical that there will be a debate, but we'll see. I think that Donald Trump would easily defeat Joe Biden. And, you know, on that, this is a good segue for my piece of legislation, but then this clip of Joe Biden today. Watch this. So he's at an event. You've seen these foreign leaders there, and you see the center, like they're right there, right? And he's kind of wandering and he's drifting off, and then they graciously start filling in the gap because he's wandered off and he doesn't know where he is. And then they literally come around him, and then you have the prime minister there talking to him to keep him focused on what he's supposed to be doing. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the leader of the free world. And you have other leaders in Europe that are having to wrap around him to keep him focused. This is not the message that we want to portray on the global stage. This is why Russia and China and Iran are doing what they're doing. And so I have a bill, No Juicing Joe. It's trending on Fox. They had the exclusive on it, so you can go to Fox News and check it out there. But the short version is we know that he's receiving some type of cocktail to help him with his cognitivity, his ability to function, for him to have any energy. And since the White House will not give him any tests to that end, we're asking that he submit and notify Congress when he's taking any sort of cocktail or anything that might alter the state of his mind and his ability to perform. And so with that, this is really important as we go into this election. People need to understand, who is Joe Biden? Is he really capable of being the leader of the free world? I don't think he is. I think most world leaders realize that he is not capable, which is why you see the world in such a state of disarray right now, why you see Russia doing what it's doing. And keep in mind, you have part of the Russian fleet off the coast of Florida, nuclear submarine, long-range missiles right off the coast of Florida. That didn't happen under Trump. You wouldn't see that under Trump, but you see it under Joe Biden. You see China being a bad actor in the sea around Taiwan. Why? Because they know Joe Biden is weak. And so as you look at that video, I feel sorry for Joe Biden. I don't really think that he knows at times where he is or who he is, and that's a shame. One might argue that it's elder abuse. This is about power. This is about them wanting to control this country and control you. And I encourage you to fight back, to have your voice heard, and to get out and vote, to make sure that in November you cast your vote, your neighbor casts their vote, and we take back this country. This is episode 12 of Restoring the Republic. God bless you. It's an honor to serve, and we'll see you next time.